stand and build one heart is the end for us all. Our tribal affiliation or our religious sentiment are effective of how people saw the trenches of Dar in 1983 all the way 30 years after, in 2015, and then a man began election and he had won. Respected and loved in Yoruba. Warrior very particular about now late President Muhammadu Buhari ending the problem of the battle against banditry. Cross State, the metamorphosed Abuja Kaduna rail track. I told them, no, don't worry, I would go by road. And that's, the feeling that comes with understanding that in a country where we have a president, some people had the guts and effrontery. They were uploading videos of how the kidnapped people were being was saying that, you know what, the government should negotiate. I think there were a lot of defining moments of the NSAS protests would go down. The most iconic of those events, maybe people, I covered it from the first day till the last day. And, some were concluded, compensations and all of that, and accepted. I mean, it's a reality. That was when his certificate was being questioned. A NEPA bill to present as APP in 2011, Pastor Tony Bakari, of Imo State Senator Rochas Okorocha, and the disgruntled Barry 2000 mounted challenge, and for the very first time in our democratic maybe one that our cabinet was said of the country on medical served of had a relationship with the late president. On Monday, President Muhammadu Buhari, he was with us on the show. And then for about 40 minutes, the former Minister of Communication kept saying, Buhari is someone that allows you to Mr. Den, former governor of Lagos State, Babatunde Raji Fashola, also alluded to the fact that, with Buhari, you have that he was not aware of what are tagged by military, cars were destroyed night. So there's a whole lot of conversation around him. And was he really... That means all of the intelligence gatherings were not being exchanged. It's obvious that they weren't bringing the results that Nigerians wanted to see because people were still being killed. North Central, even some part of the Northwest, Southwest was also. But then, they would always tell you again that in terms of public infrastructures, maybe it didn't do too badly. For my Southeast brothers, the Lagos Ibadan Expressway has been under construction. Under his administration, we had one of the last who made sure that whatever it was. So there were a lot of reports that from Sudan. But from what I saw yesterday, accepted by his own people and literally worshipped by his own people. When he left office as the president, there were times where he would go to the Friday prayer day. So there were moments that defined his person. We have a lot to talk about on the show today. Said Fawad is live in the studio, but we need to take a very quick break. Serving leader we've had in this country until he died. Said Fawad will get into the conversation, but today it's going to be about the man. Welcome. We'll run through the conversation together. Stick around.
It's time to break it open.
BFF, the sound of Lagos. Lagos.
Stay ahead of the political discourse with Midweek Politics, your go-to program for in-depth discussions and critical insight into Nigerians. Join Okoyemi Akinyode and his co-host Victor Achibong and our in-house analyst Saeed Fawad as they bring to you breaking news and analysis, exclusive interviews, engaging debates, public interaction, election coverage, and all political conversations. Straight 120 minutes of live, unfiltered, and unapologetic political conversations.
At some point, we must ask ourselves that what has caused us to be in
Lagos.
FM. It is hard listening via the news. We dig deep. Our week, the bulk of the conversation will be around the live sports in his compound and in Dara. Much VIP, former vice president, members of the legislature has, quite a lot of personnel. It was born in July 2020. It's quiet, reserved, but he's also loved by everyone. Wow. he served as 7 months and 27 days. He served as the military leader from the 31st of December 19. And 8 years as a democratically elected president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria from the 29th of May, when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on the 29th of May 2023. 4 times he ran for political offices, and political office actually only the president. And then in 2011 he was also on the ballot, and in 2015 he came back on the ballot, but this time form of CPC, that's Congress for Progressive Change. And finally in 2015 with the change mantra election. Well, I just have to quickly run you through those numbers so that we know. With 10 children, and with one of our senior colleague was talking about why Buhari, that was headed by the dead wife of the military head of states, gave. And so when Buhari came out of detention, he was very livid, and he said, listen, I died, and then Buhari married the personalities around him. We'll try to chronicle of those on the show today. 3 editions.
3 editions.
I literally had to threaten you yesterday that you must be
3 editions of not going on that I should. I'm supposed to be an integral part of it, but again, you wanted me to live a good life. When I say good life, a life that brings to mind a lot to Daura, until when he became military governor. That was probably the only year people refer to that. They say the Buhari Idiagbon.
Buhari Idiagbon.
Always the Buhari.
Almost like a joint ticket.
It was and for the military, it's always the man about that combination. So it's the only regime where you see people talk about. You will not hear Babangida a homo. You had a situation where it was like a joint ticket, like you said, Buhari Idiagbon regime, and they were very popular for their zero tolerance. The stories are there. Getting Nigeria back on track. Again, the classic Biko, who was threatening cases of corruption. Biko was then in the United States to Nigeria before the British authorities discovered at that time. Very young man. He had all of the energy. He was agile. Everything was intact really, and he had was toppled in that government, and surprisingly, because the only other time we later heard of him was when Abacha came in, and it was surprising that
the reason why he would never write a book was because those people means that it would also insult their children and their grandchildren. Of course, I watched the video this morning.
That for me, again, with all due test of mankind,
they had their stories in ink.
Their stories were documented. Muslims refer as the best of mankind. Again, would have been nice, for example, became a soldier. I rose through the rank and fought civil war. That he would have brought some clarity to. That's the
and for some weird reason,
that's what this person is saying.
If it aligns, then you can start
or remove, or
depending on interest.
He's been able to come back into
very consistent.
Would have also been nice to, of Ahmadu Bello for years, apart from the military or a man who can say votes.
Who owns those? Who would ask all of those questions?
So what were the philosophies? What were the legacies? How was it? The political elite? Don't be deceived. That was the end. Just fire like when we brought in little technology. Now you saw that the real figures came out. But in those days, you see KKK state 3 million, 4 million. It's all. There was a guy who had no money. And when we say money, contented he was as a person. It's one thing to just be in government. Former Minister of Petroleum. There was a time under Abacha, an extremely corrupt regime.
It was made the head of.
But look, if you have traveled widely in Nigeria, you understand that. Look, if there's one government fund set aside for somebody to spend, and he spent it well, PTF, we're talking about under a regime and anyway. I'm sure there's no in education, and that was a period where and
Kaduna, I don't have house anywhere else.
No, look, let's zero tolerance to corruption and contentment cannot be questioned. Military governor, then later the head of states tells you, hey, go and look at the same people. So about how modest, you started to
offices,
and
was Buhari.
You are supposed to declare it with this.
But it's not.
So when Buhari now brought out, I think in one of the to bring one area that look maybe he should not have.
It was hot.
We really need to turn things around for the country, and We've tried Buhari. Now we are with Emiloko, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It's still the same old story. And put us on the right path, beyond the rhetorics. And that's why there are people so what we've seen is that, look, having good intentions, okay, it's not intentions in the world. Forget it, you are not going to run the government.
But when the lions charge at you, you back down.
I remember when he fell sick, almost for 6 months. He was completely absent with an ailment like this. Before the 2015 election, which means that there must have been an health issue he's been dealing with. But Iirsᴛ said that, look, I've never been this sick.
He also said for him to choose death.
That long month, very sick.
He was pale.
He was so around that, he's been dead, he's a body double.
Check
you
your
have to check, and we have
That's
terrible rhetoric that. And at some point, you have people who started to believe such respect to the person that was telling me this morning. Buhari never put anything down. As authentic.
As the owner of the story, divided in the last 3 days. Has he this? Is it this? Is it that? Sorry, VP Shetty division. And this is not a play that is fair well for 200 naira per litre of misadventure in politics. If he has not won the election in 2015 and lost in 2015, he brings the primaries of the APC 2 days before the APC. Yeah. But I had the sympathy and the goodwill. I have a feeling that if Buhari had contested on another, but you know, the people like Bisa, Chief Bisa at the end of the day, overwhelming victory. Kebbi, Katsina, and right forward. Yesterday, on the street of Dara, morning, President Bola Ahmed voted for him. Passed to heaven. That was the elections, the venture in politics. Former president. Would it have been this divided? Opinions, love, and how people rate him.
Well, very difficult. From Buhari when he came massive, like you were being sworn in. We said the failure of the good of your physique you had to offer. And I think the problem was that coming back into the demo, it was just so much about came to power. It was somebody who was ready to.
There was priorities.
It was Muslim. The likes of his Southwest. That Buhari was friends with. Amosu still had that welcomed them into the NPP. So he was such a man who. This is the reality. Like I said, you can't of the country. You must understand how people. Buhari struggled with his health. And
what his body is telling him.
There was a lot of loopholes. That's what. Look, we had a situation where Buhari was nominating somebody for a position. Presidency nominating, for example, Ibrahim Magu, the minister, and because his health would not.
Playing God.
We're playing God. You know, a lot of. And there are people who confirm that. In one of the
application was on the situation on Monday. He also said the same thing.
No, you can't question.
Pastor Tᴏɪᴛᴇ also granted an interview.
Yeah.
And he said that he was seeing him again or appear before him.
For example.
So that
maybe
could have maybe 2027 maybe.
But as at 2015,
no, it was clear.
It was clear that look, he got into government and he was still saying that look, what kind of leader do we really need? Anytime Osinbajo steps in, that people said it was Kyari, the then chief of staff, that was running the
death due to COVID complications. Literally exposed
ventures of Malami under Buhari. How do you explain that it was under Buhari that a minister had gone to borrow aircraft? How Pencom was a disaster. So look, you can't excuse the president. But he was the president.
The CBN governor.
Look, anything we do level of rot to have happened, a whole lot. But look, if there's a way to describe people, we cannot even see the level of this work with the people around him. He appeared so clannish, and Nigeria cannot be run like that. Nigeria has a capacity to deliver in terms of physical presence, in terms of being able to. Jᴏɪᴛ autobiography, where he said that look. And there were a lot of people who worked with him said that look, when you give Baba those documents, it's right through it, he has his own idea, he would have said this, and because again, Nigeria
says a lot.
Says a whole lot. Not even one. Maybe we overrated it. Again, there was an idea, remember. Maybe it was 8 years of the Buhari government exposed achievement is when somebody
you were just
anybody. These were basically the monies were available.
It's not leadership.
That's not leadership, man. But he was a leader. And is he attention to little things that first publish all their phone numbers? Is that building roads? They're not picking Essays that have PAs upon PAs. That was not about the number of roads he built in Lagos. You guys don't understand. You know, there's a way you
and intention.
Charge. And so because things you could not
Peace everywhere.
Everywhere now.
Blocked
roads are being
everywhere.
blocked now. Roads. You are deceiving because you are just basically signing public funds and you are signing away. A lot of them, if we decide to even count projects, okay. I'm not saying
policies that you can go and implement.
All of that. In his fight against trans, people were just misbehaving. Just look, how do you explain?
Them 6 years before they got finally convicted.
And then 2 years that was in charge of some of these things because the Buhari of 1980
Trade of state was now the one.
You look at a Malami today. He can't even save himself. And that's why we are telling people, you turn left, now see the same people.
Same of the
you
same.
look your front, now them.
The voice behind.
Forget about all. That's why I'm not against any policy secretary of the ADC. I say how.
Okay.
So before ask more about the how do you want to? Maybe we'll say the direction.
How do we say 20 years? He was Senate president for 8 years.
Let's put it this way.
Oh.
Now, right. Now them. Nothing new on this table. But what I'm saying is that maybe, because at the end of the day, they've not really said anything, to convince me that they are going to bring it on for us to see whether, they have a better idea. The APC today struggle to answer that simple question. Have the lives of the people gotten better? We need to ask.
A young person that saw everything happen during maybe one of the dark days of this country, joining a TV station, the commander-in-chief of the person, a governor, because under Buhari's administration of sachetization detergent, they were now in for people. So there were a lot of things that had the most bizarre conditions to experience. Side forward, as a young person, SARS, how significant was the NSAS in defining who or he are fallout of the looting of warehouses? Period of the NSAS in the political journey of Muhammadu
should not have happened if it was better managed.
Brutality everywhere.
And it was clear. Structured policing system. In fact, the debate, police brutality, you say police had become a tool for harassment. The youths now decided that, look, who had gone to watch a football match. And that was the classic case of Nigeria. You create something to solve a problem. It was just a reflection of the deeper corruption we have in our society. Tools of harassment of our young people who, because again, the way they want to dress, the way they want to carry themselves, what they like to do, the mode that, look, if we're even going to talk about people who have been able to create that good image for the country at this time, you have to look at our artists.
At the final of the World Cup, you've seen Rema at the Ballon.
Victor Osimhen, for example, taking the world to, and then you had a SARS. But was there really any reaction to address the issue? In fact, I remember it would have been better like they even said
not talked.
Or into chaos. The argument is, it was at the toll gate, but those things would have been averted because people died. Policemen died. Innocent Nigerians died. It was chaos all over. It was also one of the low moments of the Buhari government, and there's no argument about it. It was, love of the young ones, because again, before Okoyemi, say Baba's story. In fact, a lot of Nigerians, yes, it was a lot of battle to say, this could not. I said no. He still has to go back to the desk of the president. Whatever were the plus and minus of the Buhari government, we need to ask ourselves: are they also looking at themselves and say, arrangement, everybody wanted to identify with Buhari in the political space? That's quite obvious because, again, a lot of they say one of them who went there with the turban.
Which one is one of them? Fully turban,
you saw it,
with a Louis Vuitton shoe, well dressed like he was.
I saw pictures. But I'm saying that.
No, he was turban.
In that turban.
He was at the turban when he came in off his private jets.
Okay.
But we didn't see him again at the burial.
Yeah, maybe the decided Governor Rada. He was very emotional. It's all gone.
It's done.
It's done. Another 50 in Dubai. In fact, I was telling one of our friends that there's a lot that age brings. I was my dad, and I was looking at him. It's almost becoming like a pain. Like, that's to tell him you're not able to eat what you really want to eat. At some point, my grandfather would say, let me just have pap. And you don't even see it. Because you are just confined into one corner of your house. At some point, do you know that even your children, you look at them and like, because you feel you die, unless it's sudden. But if it's about growing old,
you will think of
a lot of them in their quiet moment will be reflecting on what they did.
What have I done?
when they had the opportunity to.
The doors are closed.
I'm sure when the doors are closed, they look at them.
Yeah, the gas, everything. There's not
of doing good for the people. Few people to enrich you. That's not what I'm saying. It's not because the people who are your political loyalists and then you give them contracts or you put them into political positions. You think that they are just wasting your time. It is the number of people you have to take out of poverty. The people you are able. That's what we are talking about. Look, how many people are able to acquire? No, we ascribe to him. We talk about Jack on the estate, but how many properties does he have? That's the life of meaning and impact that we're talking about. So, for people who listen to this, any toba ku tomara yin shepe fun iṣẹ́ ọwọ́ ẹ̀ tó bá ṣe dáadáa máa ṣàdúrà fún tó wáyé pé wọ́n dẹ̀ ń ṣàdúrà fún tí iṣẹ́ ọwọ́ ẹ̀ ò dá.
Someone dies and then the people are cursing you, and then people are praying for you that prayer will be turned to cross. So that's just summary of what Side for said. Let's wrap it up, Side for. The phone lines are buzzing. So I know a lot of people also want to say one or two things, but in summary, I mean, we've looked at this time of numbers, his honors over the years. GCF, that's the Grand Commander of the Federal Republic, that's the CSM, the National Service Medal, the NSM, and there was also the Loyal Service and Medal, the Global Seal of Integrity, GSOI. Wow. I also said that, put out, well, key positions held Side for Borno State, 1976 again. It was appointed as the Federal Commissioner for Petroleum of NNPC. In 1980, August to October 1981, it was the General Commanding Officer for 2nd Merchandise Infantry Division. From October 1981 to the state. From 1994 all the way down to 1998, it was the chairman of the Petroleum Trust. 3 minutes. Summarize everything. What would you caption the book?
Oh, well.
Okay.
A legacy of missed opportunities, I'll say. Worry, a legacy of missed opportunities.
I don't know, because, like you said, I mean...
One thing about autobiography is that, look, you read... But again, I don't know why he refused to write a book. At least an autobiography would have just been proper before he died.
Well, he said that he doesn't want to write a book because some people,
yes,
if he writes a book, and by insulting those people, he might have... The person also should write and defend themselves.
Obasanjo has written books. For example, his account of the Nigerian Civil War, because he wrote the book as if he was the only one that fought the Civil War. So, look, books are just very good, really. It helps with a young one. The low point for me was I never wrote a book. He should have written a book, at least an autobiography.
Well, maybe somebody will pick that. I'm sure the likes of Garba
cannot be as authentic as
thank you so much, Side for more reason why, by the way, so that we can pick the calls. Hey, it's been amazing. Thank you, Side for go on, and I'm glad we're able to pull through. We'll pick up your calls, real and his many legacies. Talking about late, and that looks like a copyright title that we can protect. So whoever chooses to write a biography, because at the end of the day, I've read quite a autobiographies. I just finished that of Chief Bisa Konde on Thursday last week. Quite voluminous, but a lot to learn from it. And I mean, I will have felt their own sentiments, and they can choose to tell their own truth or not to tell their own truth. So, regard him as the best Nigerian president we ever had in this country. Killings, kidnappings, banditry, the NSAS fiasco, a whole lot inherited an economy that was voted as the second fast. And again, you also look at some of the interviews that the people that worked with, the former president had given. I was Minister of Communication, and he kept saying, "Oh, Buhari allowed you to operate. He doesn't police you. He doesn't." But in leadership, especially when you have a chain of command that is absolutely defined, TV and say, "Come outside. If you want to fight me, I'm ready to fight you." He was talking to Aboki FX that time. But look at what the man is going through right now. So if you want posterity to speak well about you, it's not even when you are old that you start living life of legacy. Live it while at your old age. Maybe you change over time. But the times you were a bad person when you were much younger, some people would always be leader in the history of this or pick them up. Within that period, he divorced his wife because she received a gift from the wife of one. What were your time in 2011 before you eventually won in 2015? You couldn't do those things. What were your limitations? Was it because you just, enact decrees and people just do without questioning you. Were those the limitations that made Buhari not to be able to, I followed campaign trains from worshipped and loved. I just voted for him. But what happened? How long did the honeymoon last? Maybe 2 years. And then things started falling apart and the center could not hold. Okay, let me allow you to join the conversation.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you. You come here with nothing. We now go back with saying, which all these things, we see all these things. Everyone might have to tell us. But as we are dying, it's an example to all of us that remain. So behave well, my brother. Look at what as about their president there now. You cannot finish a whole food chicken. It is not possible. So what are we?
I would also read your messages on Facebook. Oh, it's all a kingdom. I like that.
You people have stayed in this country. And then who told me that in 1984 when he came in, we use AK from the chair. It's not in Nigeria. Because we use our money to build religion, but we never saw it. To me, I give you 1/10. Never did any
session on the show, but I'm begging you, let us be civil. It's not even about 1-0. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome.
Your guest has captured everything. He has chronicled opportunity. In accident, he not tend to, want to an evil that I will never wish upon. And
beats people into aligning and understanding the fact that this is not a newspaper conversation. It's a radio show. So I understand your sentiment and all of that, but please let us be very civil. 0913-600-0410. We're talking about the Mīᴅ. He lived, he died. Of course, Said Fuad felt his time is a legacy of missed opportunities. But what do you think? Talk to us. 0913-600-0410.
Good afternoon. It was why 2020. Even the killing, yes. Was it that the military planned it all? And at 8 p.m. it was the 20th hour, 20th day, 2020. Okay, that was the height of it all. Innocent youth who gathered together to protest and stop God from judging the ills of the dead.
Whether you speak against it or not, he will be judged.
God bless you. So now, okay, well, they are not any better. But do you know only one man can change the direction of a nation? But it also tells you that when the policy of one man can change the direction of a nation. And as far as I'm concerned, let me tell you another thing. My father was a captain. In Makurdi, Buhari was the commanding officer. My father was under him in Makurdi. All of these things that we are saying, this APC, as I'm rounding up, I want to tell you something. But until we are able to get the right person, I'm telling you the truth.
Thank you, Pastor. It's been, as expected, that's been outcome. Maybe do something a bit of the conversation. The man, the myths, and the shape in 2027. But truly, a vacuum has been created with them. Who owns those block votes? The million those are for the northern part of the country.
Hey, bro. Good afternoon. That's what I have repeat the same in your second year, the same mistake and the
100,004. That is Owen from Lagos and mastermind of okay. Take it easy, man. Take it easy. Is that you read that Buhari had? How many did he go with? It's not hard. Okay, thank you. This one is fetched. He simply lacked the capacity to do so. Remember that writing an autobiography is purely an academic exercise. May the soul of Buhari continue to rest in peace. Lastly, what would be? I've been asking. Let's pick more calls. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, Okpeyemi.
You're welcome.
State. There was a metro project that was to be. When Buhari came in as a Minister of State, the father of his ADC brought in 50, and he said those that looted money, the money they have stolen, will come back to their houses. So if in the Senate time, Buhari wouldn't have been the president. He can't even be a scan.
This is a lengthy one. Enlightening people who keep showing their ignorance as there had never been anyone cloned before. Secondly, Mr. Fuad. So if they do, why are they still doing? With all the wealth and honor that former President Muhammadu Buhari had, it was lowered into the 6 feet hole. However, I was choosing to attend the burial very much. Good afternoon, guys. They are cheating us very much, Madam Florence. Okay. Some of us even kicked on to Nigeria for burial for the reason that our Alaba. Thank you very much.
From Mɪᴅ.
Mr. Sam from Mɪᴅ, you're welcome.
Yes, around 1993, Scott Bender or Midwest at that time. The governor that was there is Ambrose Ali. It's one of that university has so many secondary schools in the house, and at the time he was being really busy on Obasanjo in Ogun State. Aparaku in movement. Is this the type of man we are saying? And building a house, and the children painting the house, and no bridge was built this last dispensation.
I'll soon go to Facebook, so don't worry. Now that I've gone close to Asura, corruption was massive under his administration. Thank you, Debo. I barely even remember his colleagues back then. Buhari died on Sunday. Forget all that story of 2017. But the truth of that history, 8 years was a disaster. I hope we don't find it again. Okay, thank you. It has to do with Jibrin of Sudan. Buhari's civilian administration was a monumental corruption. It was part of NNPC Limited to the point of killing the people at Lekki toll gates for demanding for good governance. James from Agba.
All the presenters are here before. In fact, this part of the world. And the people belong to other things for Nigeria to continue. But the road was built by Buhari for that very moment. And continue, we can't remember Abiola. Buhari for you, don't forget it. So for me on the earth today, Mr. Sports, wishing well. Those who are taking over now, yes, we do the mistake of Baba Buhari and correct that mistake and do better.
Okay. Buhari made a big mistake of his life by direction. That is Adekombi from Ketsu. Okay. Rahim from Agege says more than that. Thank you very much. I want to try and rush through all of the mess calling from.
I am brother Yokolo contribute a little.
Please go on.
All the people that are because most of the work they are measuring. Not Buhari do it or not. So, like this head of state now, the money when he give you, you use it when Buhari give you work. He says zombie him.
He's squeezing a couple of more calls on our intelligence never depreciate. To me, in terms of democratic, the Adetunji says, I think late President Buhari will have done better if he had, with a clear recollection and explanation and some. I think they are losing to go through details and follow up in to obese emergency governments that we have today by. Okay. This one says the late president's era from economy to security to education to died in a UK clinic. A man that will have built loud corruption to thrive in his government. Now he's gone. I wish our press. You're welcome.
Good afternoon, my brother. This life, we should understand the fact that in a very short while, if you get the age of 17, what belongs to the entire nation, talking in somewhere, I mean, at the end of the day, it would have been better off if Buhari did not return as civilian leader. Because people will keep saying about war against indiscipline and how it talk entirely. He talk of corruption. He talk of rule of law. He talk of Onoge. Because he knew that Onoge is going to elect people for that tribunal case when the 2019 election, people will start going to court. And he removed him so that he will not in a girls. And people keep saying that somebody constructing a road or bridge is the achievement. Now, do we do any forensic case or maybe the road measure the $50 billion? At the end of the day, when I finish constructing, it starts changing my praises. How will I be looking at you? Would I be looking at you as a fool? Somebody that I fool is here pray that they find out that the money expended to pursue those projects is overestimated.
Thank you, James.
Thank you very much.
It's going to be an engaging conversation 4 times. As an accidental and unprepared leader. We mean by accidental leader, Jerry from Ikeja. Muhammadu Buhari did relatively well during his reign as the military head of state. He was well managed, free drugs to hospitals and other good things, but as a civilian president, he did not do well. John.
honestly, during the first time of Buhari, I think they took power from MPN. MPN was driving Nigeria's economy into the
up and Buhari came into office. So he enjoyed that goodwill
exactly
in 2000.
so. Exactly so. The people were jubilating all of things in terms of why. So why it should be as he performed criminally poorly, woefully as a leader.
Thank you. We've come to the end of the show. Next up at 3 p.m. is going to be the ball played for you, and that will be hosted by from 3 to 4 p.m. and by 4 p.m. is going to be the big edition of Sports Cruise. President Atiku Abubakar Okoyemi